In this video, I'll be comparing Lovable versus Bolt. So I'm going to ask them both to create the exact same app through the same prompt, and I'll show you what it builds, and I'll also go over how easy it is to iterate from there on both features and the UI, for example. I'll go over their integrations and pricing, and by the end of this video you will know which one is probably better for you. So the prompt I'm going to give it is build a simple to-do list web app with a back-end API and a front-end UI, so that we put both back-end and front-end to the test. Then the back-end should have endpoints to add, list and delete tasks. The front-end should be styled cleanly and allow users to add tasks, mark them complete and remove them, and use modern best practices and keep the code well structured. So I'm going to give that prompt to both Lovable and Bolt and then show you what it builds. So on Lovable you can see you have the preview. Now it's not done yet, but you can also see the code. So that is pretty interesting, and if you know how to code, that can be quite helpful. Now as for Lovable, you can see what it has built right here. So it's pretty simple. So what you do is add a new task. So I asked it to build a simple to-do list web app, so therefore it doesn't have many advanced features. But for example, if I add as a task, go for a walk, and then hit plus right there, it will then be added to my list. Now if I say, for example, read for 30 minutes and then add that one, you can see at the top now it's 0 of 2 completed. Now if you're going to tick the box, it then crosses it off and turns into a check mark. And now I can click on delete and I can see it's now 1 of 2 completed. I can also delete it without finishing it. And it's just a very simple to-do list web app. Now after that, I also asked it to include email and password authentication, so that you need to have an account. Then for Bolt, you can see what it has created here. Now I still need to integrate with Supabase, so therefore it doesn't fully work yet, but I can go and show you this. Now what you will see looks kind of similar to what the Lovable one looks like. It may look a little bit more polished. Now I'm just going to integrate Supabase, otherwise it will not work. Now it is having some trouble, so right now it says could not find the title column of tasks in the schema cache. So that has to do with my Supabase database. Now if there is a problem, then it will show the problem and you can then click attempt to fix, and then Bolt is trying to resolve the problem. Then it looks at what the problem is and then it tries to fix it. So now you can see I have fixed the column name mismatch in the edge function. So if I try this again, go for a walk and click add task. Now you can see task text is required, so still there is a problem. Now I've just created a new Supabase project because then it should be set up right. Now again, it has already found a problem. So with Lovable I didn't have any of these problems. With Bolt it is now giving me a bunch of problems for a very simple app. And now I have already run out of tokens, so honestly the experience here with Bolt is not very good, but I have used it before and it doesn't always do this. Right now it is working very poorly and Lovable is definitely the winner in this comparison, but this isn't always the case. Bolt is a fine app builder, but right now it's not working very well. It just gives error on error upon error. They do have a free version, so does Lovable, with 150,000 tokens daily. Sounds like a lot, but just in the example that I gave here, I already ran out of it. And you get 1 million tokens per month. And the Pro plan is popular, where you have, for example, if you want, let's say 10 million monthly tokens, it's $25. Pricing goes up quite a bit, for example, for 1200 million tokens per month at $2,000. Then if built yearly, you can save about 10%. Now with Lovable, what I have found is if you want to build out quite specific features or make small tweaks to your UI, it doesn't work that well, but the same does kind of go for Bolt. And that is always going to be the case with these AI app builders. When you want to make small changes, even those cost quite a few credits, and if you need a bunch of small changes, then it is going to be quite expensive. Now in terms of the interface of the app, I do think the one on Bolt here looks a little bit better, although again they are quite similar and that is more like personal preference. But when you add a task, I imagine it works pretty much the same here as it does on Lovable. Now as for which one I would pick, I would say I would pick Lovable if your goal is to get an app or site off the ground fast with minimal technical overhead, especially if your logic isn't extremely complicated. If you just want to validate an idea, build a prototype, or deliver something MVP level quickly, then Lovable is great. Now I would pick Bolt if you expect your app to grow in complexity, or you want more control over architecture, logic, or want to avoid hitting limits later. And if you or your team have some development skills and you want to fine-tune behavior, Bolt is probably safer in the medium to long term, since it allows you to access the code right here and even to edit the code. So if you know how to code, 100% I would go with Bolt. In this case it didn't work perfectly, but I think that's because I accidentally connected it to a database that I already had and I should have created a new one, but usually it works better. So that concludes this comparison of Lovable versus Bolt. If this comparison helped you make a decision, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. With that being said, I will see you in the next video.